I have been to Lebanon. Yes, and when I was in school, I have studied English and French. How long have I been studying Spanish? Oh, I've been studying Spanish for 3 weeks now. It's really nice. But listen, I have to go because I need to make a video. No, thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. All right? You too. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, it's Teacher Will. And I'm back with another video on the how, the when, and the why of two particular verb tenses that I used when I was talking on the phone to one of my friends. And those verb tenses that you might hear from time to time is the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. Now, those verb tenses might be confusing and you might not understand when to use them, why to use them, and how to use them. So in this video, I want to address those particular concerns. But before I do that, I'd like to say, hey, listen, if you're new to Ask Teacher Will, welcome to the family. Because this is the place where you and we learn together. English is a global international language, and let me say, it does not matter your nationality, your race, who you love, who you don't love, religion, non-religion. English is for you and for me. So if you're new to the channel, make sure that you click on the subscribe and that you hit the bell so that you can receive the latest notifications so that when I drop a video, you might know what we're doing. All right, so let's talk about the present perfect. Now, in that being said, I could give you many different examples. For examples, I could say they have studied English, or I have been to Lebanon, or you have learned a great deal. That is an example of the verb tense that is called the present perfect. And if you didn't see my previous videos on how I like to describe verb tenses, then I recommend that you take a look at that video, and what I'll do is I'll link it in the comments section below. So when learning the present perfect, I want you to remember the concept that we learned before, the how, the when, and the why. The how of present perfect. The how is the verb structure. So you use have or has plus verb 3 or the past participle. He has eaten fish, or I have learned French. That's the how. Now the when of present perfect, the when refers to the time of the verb or the time of the verb tense as it relates to the present perfect. So when you think of the present perfect, I want you to think about an action that you did in the past that is connected to or relates to now or the present. I have been to France. The action started in the past and is connected to or up until now or the present. So that's the how, the when, and let's talk about the why. Why I use the present perfect. I use the present perfect when I'm talking about not exact specific time, or sometimes you'll hear it be called unspecified time. So let's use it as an example. I have been to Lebanon. That's not exact or specific time. At some point in my life, whether it is now, a week ago, last year, 2 years ago, I've actually seen the country of Lebanon. So the first reason you use the present perfect is for not exact, specific, or unspecified time. The second reason you use the present perfect is when you're talking about your life experiences, your life. If I say, for example, you have graduated from high school, that is your life. You have learned English. You have had 3 children. That is your life experience. And the third reason for using the present perfect is when you're talking about an event or accomplishment. What do you mean by that? For example, I can say, you have passed your IELTS exam. That's an event or accomplishment. Now, oftentimes when you hear the present perfect, you will hear certain words associated with that. Let me give you an example of some of those words. Already, yet, just, since, for. Those are some words that you will normally hear associated with the present perfect. So for example, I have just completed my homework. I have never been to China. Maybe one day. So those are certain words that you will hear associated with the present perfect. Now, one of the things that I do want to tell you that when using the present perfect, you should not use, as an example, the following words: last year, last week. Do not use that with the present perfect. What do I mean by that? If I say, I have been to China last year, grammatically, that is not correct, because last year is finished time and present perfect is not associated with that. So, remember, as it relates to the present perfect, the how, the verb structure, when, the time of using present perfect, and the why, the reason or explanation. Now I want to talk about another verb tense that you might hear. For example, I could say, you have been watching As Teacher Will for 1 year. That is another verb tense that we have in the English language that is called present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. So, let us do the methodology of how, when, why, as it refers to the present perfect continuous. Remember, the how, the verb structure of present perfect continuous. Do you know what it is? Listen. I have been learning English for over 3 years. He has been writing Arabic for 2 weeks. Did you hear the verb structure? Well, verb structure for a present perfect continuous is have or has plus been plus verb ing. That's the how. The when refers to the time of the verb. So, you use a present perfect continuous when you're talking about a continuous action that you did in the past that is connected until now or the present. Now, the reason why you use the present perfect continuous. One of the major reasons you use the present perfect continuous is when you're talking about durations of time. You have been studying English or you have been learning English for over 5 years. That's a duration of time. So, present perfect continuous, one reason why you use it, duration of time. The other reason why you use it is, again, life experiences, not exact, specific, unspecified time, or events or accomplishments. But the major differentiation, or the major difference, or the major reason why you use the present perfect continuous is when you're talking about duration of time. Oftentimes what happens is people get confused in terms of when to use the present perfect. I have studied English, and I have been studying English for 6 years. So please remember, when it relates to the present perfect continuous, one of the major reasons you use it is durations of time. The other reason why you use the present perfect continuous, it has a similar meaning to recently or lately. What do I mean by that? Well, I could say, for example, how have you been feeling recently, lately? So, those are the various reasons why you use the present perfect continuous. So, present perfect, I have learned English, you have been to China. Present perfect continuous, you have been learning English for 5 years. You have been studying, or you have been, no, let's get off studying. You have been living in France for 2 weeks. Present perfect continuous. And when you remember those verb tenses, please remember any particular verb tense, I would like for you to remember the how, the when, and the why. So in the comment section, what I want you to do is the following. Use those verb tenses in a sentence. Write it down. Because when you write it down and you use it, that is letting you know that you're remembering the information. Now, remember, all things are possible. All things in your life are possible. If you want to learn English, all things are possible to those that believe. So, with that being said, if you like this video, share it with your friends, your family. Click on that subscribe button. Why? Because I keep telling you, this is the place where you and I, we learn together. So, have you subscribed to As Teacher Will's YouTube channel yet? Present perfect. I'll be back soon with some more examples of verb tenses in the future. Until next time.